Hey guys, this is Thoth from the Batsquatch podcast. I was just letting you know that if you're down on your luck, you ain't got any money, and you're sick of begging your parents for money to buy a beer or anything at all, download the Anchor app. The Anchor app is the easiest way to make a podcast. I mean, it's almost as easy as breathing. They distribute it for you. They teach you how to do basically everything. It's kind of like guided meditation for the podcast enthusiast. I mean, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, I can't think of anything that's easier or more fun than getting on the Anchor app and making a podcast. So get on board and try it out. It's amazing. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Batsquatch podcast. This is Thoth. I'm currently at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. And I just wanted to report to you that there are no Bohemian Grove activity going on here. I haven't seen a Luciferian ceremony happen anywhere. I haven't seen anything satanic here at all. I've been coming here for years, and I just want to tell you guys that all of this satanic Luciferian rumors you hear about Hollywood and Hollywood actors is a complete lie. It doesn't exist. It's complete fabrications. Nobody I've ever met, no celebrities I've ever met here at Sundance Film Festival are even members of the Church of Satan, which is an atheist church. It's an actual group that's dedicated to the U.S. Constitution. So I just don't think that these rumors about celebrities and Hollywood being evil and being satanic worshipers has any credibility. One thing that's been floating around lately that's driving me nuts is this whole concept that your thoughts create reality, right? Well, every day I wake up and the first thought I have is, man, I would love to have sex with Taylor Swift. Like, I've been having that thought for 5 years. Still hasn't happened. It's a ridiculous idea to think that your thoughts create reality. If your thoughts create reality, then try and walk up a wall like Spider-Man or something like that. Just think it, and it'll happen. It's an insane idea, and it sends you backwards in your thinking. This is more of the negative New Age concepts that came out of Stanford research and in the 60s. It's insane. I mean, I never met Taylor Swift, and she's here at the Sundance Film Festival, and I'm thinking I'm going to meet Taylor Swift and we're going to make out and she's going to grab my dick, right? Still hasn't happened. Now, granted, I know that this Sundance Film Festival just started and I got 2 weeks to have sex with Taylor Swift. Probably not going to happen. But I'm thinking it, and my thoughts will create it. Don't buy into this insane philosophy. If you want something to happen, get off your ass and actually go and do it. Discipline will create a way for you to do it. Discipline and focus is how you get shit done, not from magically thinking that something will happen because my New Age guru told me so. It's insane. The cool thing about the Sundance Film Festival is that it's like Party Central. It's your fraternity on steroids. I mean, the last time I was here, the rapper A$AP Rocky was at a party, and there was a 2-story condo, and he was in the lower level, and somebody accidentally knocked over a red cup of beer, and it was in the cup landed on A$AP Rocky's head. I mean, it was like a cartoon. The cup fell through the air perfectly and landed on his head and stayed there for like 2 or 3 seconds. It was great. And then he said he's never coming back here to Sundance ever, but he'll be back. Everybody comes back because it's the party zone. A lot of celebrity fights. Celebrities get into fights when they get drunk. There's nobody, and that's the other thing too. Nobody's doing drugs. That's a myth. Celebrities they're all on coke. It's like, no, I've never seen that. Celebrities smoke weed, they get drunk. That's about it. Once you get like once in a while, you'll have somebody like Lindsay Lohan who will go nuts and just ruin their life on coke and drugs. But that's rare. This is a job. It's more like you're at a convention for your job. That's all these film festivals are. I did see, a few years ago, a director, he got into a fight with another director. And so both of these directors had their crew with them, or their entourage. And so both entourages started fighting each other, and it turned into a literal brawl. And and these guys were, and if like Hollywood security guys, they're huge. These are big people, 6'5". So you had all these people fighting, and it spilled out into Main Street in Park City, and there was just this huge brawl, and people getting knocked out, bottles smashed. It was great. Nobody got taken down to the ground and choked out. That was what I was disappointed about. It was more just a fist fight, and then the cops came and broke it up. And the 2 directors who started the fight, they got handcuffed and thrown in jail for 2 seconds because they're multimillionaires. But that being here, it reminded me of what the Bhagavad Gita and what Krishna told Arjuna. When Arjuna came to the battlefield, he was like overwhelmed with compassion for everyone, and he's going to like turn the cheek. In your life, don't ever turn the other cheek. Fight. That's what Krishna told Arjuna. Fight these motherfuckers. Fight them. Get rid of them. Wipe them out. Krishna told Arjuna to fight. You don't ever turn the other cheek. That's weakness. That's a bitch mentality. That's what weak people do. I don't care if you have no MMA training. Fight if somebody messes with you. Kick their ass. And if you lose, learn more MMA. Take more lessons. Live at the gym. Live at the MMA gym. Get to the point where you can beat the hell out of people effortlessly. Don't turn the other cheek. Take Krishna's advice and fight. Fight people. Beat the hell out of them. If Mothman, if you're in the Virginia area and Mothman is in the sky and you see him slowly descending down to you and he gets close to you, punch him in the dick. Because he's close enough in the air, hovering there in the air, to punch him in the dick. Just throw a floor punch, swing to his dick and knock him out of the air. Just start swinging on him. And then when he gets down to the air, kick him in the face and knock him out. And then get a marker and write and draw dicks on his face. Draw dicks on his chin, and just fucking mess with him. Because you shouldn't be scared of any of these mythical, they're not mythical, but any of these like supernatural creatures. Because they're real. And the thing is that you can kick their ass. Don't be scared of them. Don't fall into fear. Because you shouldn't be scared of them. You have more power than within you, within your soul than you know, and they know that. And you meditate regularly, your body will start to meditate by itself when you see stuff like that, and you won't be scared. You shouldn't be scared of them. Beat their ass. They're just creatures. They're just, they exist just like us. I wanted to send a shout out to Lizard Man. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You're awesome, dude. Keep listening. One other thing I wanted to say is that if you're bored, turn on Netflix. If you're lonely, turn on Tinder and find a hoe. Find a skank-ass hoe and, get down with some skank-ass hoe if you're lonely on Tinder. If you're hungry, call Uber Eats. I mean, there are solutions. You don't have to just sit there and zone out and be a vegetable. If you got boredom, loneliness, or you're hungry, that's a good day to spend your day. And then if you're still feeling out of it, head to the gym. The gym can solve all your problems. If you're just bored, completely out of your mind, go to the gym. If you're depressed, go to the gym. The gym will solve every problem you have, I swear to you. Everything can be fixed. All your problems in life can be solved by going to the gym. There's a lot of celebrities up here at Sundance, and I just want to say, Brad Pitt is so good looking, it makes me want to just have a sex change so I can have sex with him. Where did he get these genetics? The guy is just crazy good looking. And it makes you want to be a woman. This, you know what I mean? The dude is like, it's like a Greek sculpture. You know what I mean? Some of these celebrities up here are just crazy good looking. It's nuts. But a lot of these, I want to go back to the early times of the earth. First of all, I wanted to give a shout out to all the super soldiers in the Black Ops world. Back when the earth was made, after it was terraformed billions of years ago, you had all sorts of creatures here. You had, of course, you had like dinosaurs and stuff. But one thing that everything in existence comes back to, and will always come back to, is consciousness. You really can't define consciousness. You can get pretty close. But back when the earth was terraformed, you had all sorts of different creatures who were brought here. Because nothing on this earth is original. None of it everything that exists here was brought here. Nothing is original. Nothing grew on its own naturally. Everything, the vegetation, the animals, the bacteria, the every organism, everything that's here was brought here. And a lot of the creatures were brought here, animals, and a lot of aliens were brought here. There were spider beings, spiders that were like 10 to 20 feet wide in circumference, and they were conscious. They have consciousness. They're sentient beings. They're just like us. They can talk. They're smart. And the thing is back then, a lot of creatures were psychic. Like the spider beings, they have diamond skeletons on the outside, so you can't really hurt them. And they're precogs. They know your thoughts. They know the future. They can see the future. They are telepathic. A lot of creatures back then, and people, the original people who were brought here, everyone was telepathic back then, because they came here highly developed spiritually, and with natural gifts and talents given by the source of all, the source, the great spirit, whatever you want to call that. There were also like dinosaur beings who could talk, like raptors. There were raptors back then. They could talk, and they were just like us. They're extremely intelligent. They were telepathic, and they could talk just like us. And there's all sorts of beings like that back then. But then you had a lot of cataclysms and natural disasters and things like that, and the spider beings, a lot of these creatures who could talk, who were telepathic, extremely intelligent, non-human, they went underground and went into the earth. The inside of the earth is like a honeycomb. It's not hollow. It's a honeycomb where there's giant caverns, and there's all sorts of things within the earth. And these type of beings, they went inside the earth and built cities and civilizations. And the earth has been colonized about 4 or 5 times, and we had all sorts of different human aliens who came here and built civilizations and got in all sorts of crazy situations, and some of them were kind of negative. But a lot of the things you see today, like Chupacabra, Mothman, you have Dogmen, you have all sorts of different creatures like this that are human, but they have like an animal head, or they have human bodies, but they have a insect head, or some kind of a creature mix of different creatures, but their bodies are human. A lot of this stuff came out of the labs or the experiments in the time of Atlantis and Lemuria, specifically Atlantis. And they were experimenting, mixing people with animals, mixing people with insects. I don't know if you've ever seen that sci-fi movie Man-Skeeto, but that is a freak movie, man. That thing is crazy. And if you think about it, a Man-Skeeto, what is it? It's a vampire. It's a vampire. What's he going to do? He's going to drink your blood. So, and you have a lot of that type of experimentation happening in Atlantis. And then, they made all sorts of things. Humans humans with wings, with fangs, things like that. And and that's when I think about like life after death and stuff. I know what happens when you die. I've left my body not millions, but hundreds of times, and I've been to the spiritual realms and all these things, and there is no hell, there is no devil. That's all a lie. But what there is there's higher dimensional beings and gods and goddesses, specifically more goddesses. And I've had contact with the goddess Lilith, and I can't think of a more divine, beautiful concept than a gorgeous, beautiful goddess with fangs, who's a vampire, but not necessarily needs to drink blood, who's immortal, who has fangs, completely beautiful, benevolent, and she is benevolent. I want you guys to know that. She is not evil. She's not a demon. She never was. She's very kind, very loving, very benevolent, but she's very focused and wants you to take control of, just get your shit together, you know what I mean? And get your life in order. Stop being a little fucking bitch. That's the type of things that she doesn't say that, but she has a mentality she tells you that, just stop being lazy and just get off your ass. And she doesn't say that either, but she just says, stop being lazy and make something of yourself. Be more disciplined in your life. Make your life better. Be a stronger, better, more focused, more driven person. But that idea of a goddess with fangs, I can't think of anything more beautiful or divine. But she wasn't part of that. She's existed before the earth was even made. Well, that's the one thing you guys got to realize, that a lot of these deities, they've existed before this earth was created, and they're here to help. They really are. And of course there's negative spirits and things, but goddesses, they're benevolent, and they care about people and want to help people. So back to Atlantis, when Atlantis and the Lemuria was destroyed, and they used their nuclear type weapons and just sank the whole fucking thing, all these creatures went running wild. Because you got to realize that Atlantis and Lemuria was a worldwide culture. There was members of those civilizations all over the world. And when it went down, all these creatures ran loose, and all the Atlantean and Lemurian people, they were all over the world, and they don't got a place to go back to. Because, imagine if your country was destroyed. It's gone. It's not there anymore, and you're in somewhere like France, or you're in New York, and your country's gone. What are you going to do? You're going to go somewhere else. And a lot of the Atlantean people, they went up into South America and built pyramids, and they went up into Ohio, and one thing they did was they interbred with the people who were there. And that's, and these Atlantean people, they're 10 to 12 feet tall. They're not like we see now, like 6'6", 6'7". These people are tall. They're 10, 12 feet tall, because they're not from here, and they were a mix of a bunch of different races. And can you imagine, like, the happiness on the faces of the human women when a 10-foot tall Atlantean guy asks you out on a date to go out, and then the happiness that comes when she sees how gigantic his penis is. I mean, you know what I mean? This guy's 10 feet tall. Can you imagine how big his penis is? It's gigantic, and she must be like elated, like, yay, this is unbelievable. You know, a 20-inch dick, you know. I mean, you got these thoughts that are going to go through these people's heads, you know. And, but I guess the Atlantean women were kind of disappointed with the human penis, you know, because it'd be kind of smaller than what they're used to. But they did interbreed, and and that's where you get the word, the Nephilim. The Nephilim is just human, half alien people. It's not some evil thing where there's these gigantic Nephilim were eating people. That's false. Just like, well, 99.9% of the Bible is a lie and a falsity. Completely false. Made up stories about some real spiritual masters who existed, and they made up all these scary stories about them and to control people, basically. But the Iroquois Nation in Ohio, they have records going back 10,000 years of written records, and they've documented true world history, and they documented a lot of these Atlantean people living with them in their tribe for 10,000 years. And what happened is that when they came there, they built a base or a city underneath the Iroquois Nation in Ohio, and it's huge underneath the reservation there. And they taught them a lot of ways to, the Atlanteans taught them a lot of ways to raise their consciousness and how to obtain spiritual mastery and to get out of this lower dimension. And the Iroquois Nation, they have a lot of archaeology and a lot of things like that, archaeological evidence that the Atlantean people left there. And they still have it to this day. And they don't necessarily want to reveal it to the world. They're doing it slowly. But they have had yoga. The tribes there have yoga. They've got meditation. They know all these things, and I have for a long time. They just don't want to share it with people, with the world. And you can't really blame them, because, I mean, look what happened, you know. they got annihilated. I guess, well, yeah, the biggest genocide in human history happened in America to the American Indians. So, but a lot of there's about 5% of the Iroquois Nation and Native Americans, they have a gene. They have a lot of alien DNA, and they've been able to identify it and isolate it. And what it does is it increases the healing effects inside their bodies, so they can be hit with like an energy weapon, or they could be hit with shot or stabbed or something, and their bodies will heal faster than a normal person, because they have a higher amount of these different chemicals in their body, and their chi is extremely high, higher than normal people. But the reason why you see all these type of creatures running around is because of Atlantis experimenting with splicing DNA, changing people's DNA, creating these hybrid creatures that are half human, half dog, half human, half dinosaur, you know. I mean, And these things exist. I've seen a lot of these things. But there are almost every creature that exists, there is a transcendent or a ascended form of them in the universe. A lot of people have seen the mantis people or the mantid people. The Zuni Nation in Arizona, their ancestors, back when Atlantis went down or was destroyed, the ant people came out from underneath the earth, inside the earth, came to help them with the destruction that happened in their area. And these are ants who have human bodies. These things exist. These are people, just like the Sasquatch. These are people. They're not animals. They're not part of the animal kingdom. They're part of the human kingdom, the human species. And these are ants with human heads, or human bodies with ant heads. And just like most of all sorts of creatures or sorts of aliens and beings, 80% are benevolent, and then you have 20% are negative. And that's kind of the point of this whole podcast really is to help you to beat the shit out of that 20%, to kick the hell out of a negative alien or a negative creature, because you don't have to take their shit. You develop your psychic abilities, and then you develop your martial arts and MMA skills, and they can't fuck with you. You just kick the fucking shit out of them, whether it's psychically or whether it's physically. But the majority are kind and benevolent, and they are here to help us, and they will help us. So, there's not going to be any World War III. You've been seeing that in popping up on the internet. That's all a lie. You remember when Obama was president? It was World War III. Remember that? Everything was, Obama invaded Syria, and now it's World War III is going to start. It's like, did it start? No. Was Obama the Antichrist? No. That was another one. Obama, look at all these numbers. His birth date matches this. His natal chart is this. He's the Antichrist. It's like, no, he's not the Antichrist. The world's still here. Nothing's changed. Nothing's really changed, and nothing will ever change in the government. The government is set in stone, and you have these presidents are just they're basically managers. But Obama wasn't the Antichrist. That was ridiculous. If you ever read any Nostradamus, you would know what the Antichrist looks like, and it's not Obama. The Antichrist doesn't come from America, for fuck's sake. He's never gonna. First, there's no such thing as an Antichrist. It's a concept that is fictional, that doesn't exist. It never will exist. What Nostradamus was referring to is a dictator or a crazy man who just starts a gigantic war. But that timeline is gone. And that part of that, the reason why that timeline got shifted was because of people raising in consciousness and Mother Earth raising up her vibration into the higher dimensions. But more specifically, the timeline really changed in 2012 because the Anunnaki aliens, the human aliens who were here 400,000 years ago, their planet came through our solar system. And what happened was the Iroquois Nation and a group within the government within the NSA called the Labyrinth Group, who have a lot of Native American Nephilim there and Native American psychics. They contacted the Anunnaki aliens on that planet that was coming through our solar system. They contacted them psychically and telepathically and asked them for help, because that planet was going to come. It was going to cause major catastrophes on our planet, and they asked them for help, and the Anunnaki helped us. And what happened was they telepathically and psychically contacted Mother Earth, and they helped her create a Merkaba field around the Earth, which is your chi, or a spiritual field around the Earth that would protect us while that planet passes through our solar system. And what happened with that was that it caused a timeline change. It took us into a positive timeline, and it switched us over from the timeline we were in. And that's a minor kind of side effect of these type of things, of igniting a Merkaba energy field, or a soul. It was Mother Earth's soul that expanded around her with the help of the Anunnaki and the Labyrinth Group and the Iroquois Nation. Created that field. Nobody could see and because that field was there, nobody could see the planet passing through our solar system. And that put us into a positive timeline. And that's why you have things now where you have like major Mandela effects, where people remember Mandela dying in prison. They remember Berenstain Bears being different. You know, they remember all these sort of things that were different when they were a kid or a teenager, and now they're completely different now. Completely words are spelled differently. And the CEOs of these companies and stuff, they're like, we've never spelled it that way. It's always been like this, and it has. Because we're in their timeline now. We're in a different timeline, and it's because of that Merkaba field being ignited and that planet going through. Some of these things, you know, when you have stuff like that happen, you have to accept the side effect of it. And it's positive. It's put us into a timeline where we won't have World War III. We won't have any of the Nostradamus effects or catastrophes that he talked about. And if you psychically tune in, or if you want to like remote view Nostradamus, you can talk to him back in time. That's one of the things that's possible through psychic ability, psychic intuition, or psychic talents, and is being able to time travel. You're not physically time traveling, your consciousness is time traveling. And if you go back there and talk to him, he'll tell you that he's writing what he's writing in his book is positive. It doesn't have World War III. It doesn't have any of these crazy world leader types causing all these wars. It's different, and he's fully aware of that. And his books he's writing are completely different, with a positive outcome for humanity and things like that. It's a really cool thing. But these groups within the government, some of them are positive. Some of the Illuminati people are positive, you know, but they're not in control. That's the problem. The positive people within the Illuminati and different government agencies, they're not in control of anything. You got kind of these greedy guys, negative people are the majority, and that's fine, but they're not. We're not going to have World War III. Just raise your the secret is just raise your consciousness, and they can't really mess with you too much. They don't even care. They just want to get rich. You know what I mean? But they've had like these super soldiers who have been in these different government programs, and they've been enhanced to the point where they can regenerate limbs. They have that spider diamond coating over their bones. They have superhuman strength. They can do all sorts of things, and they fought a lot of alien beings, and some of these alien beings that they fought in South America have been like wolf people. They've come down in ships to get whatever, who knows what they're after. But the super soldiers have been down there, and super soldiers can fight them. They have the same strength, same abilities, same psychic abilities, and they're able to fight these aliens. There's a group of aliens in South America who are wolves, human. They had a wolf face and a human body, and they're like 10, 12 feet tall, and they were down there messing around, grabbing all sorts of stuff. And they were a negative group, and the super soldiers went down there and beat the fuck out of some of them, and could do everything that those aliens could do. They had another group of super soldiers who went to the moons of Saturn to obtain all sorts of different minerals for space flight and for the Illuminati spaceships. And once they got there, they had to fight the same type of creatures who were 10, 12 feet tall, wolves. They didn't walk on all fours. They were human wolves, and they weren't just like all hairy. They had technology. These guys had to fight these dudes to get this certain type of metal, to get this certain type of minerals and different things that the Illuminati use for space travel. And if you remember, the head of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, he said that we have the ability to take ET home, not just to Mars or something. He meant interstellar, all the way through the galaxy into another galaxy. And part of that reason why Lockheed Martin Skunk Works can do that is because of the super soldiers going and obtaining these type of metals and different minerals, different types of technology, or just natural technology that exists naturally, that levitates different things, that levitates objects, that allows anti-gravity technology. And it's not something made in a lab. These are natural materials that cause that are anti-gravity materials that lift things on their own. They're just natural materials. And the super soldiers have had to go and fight these all sorts of aliens. They're not creatures on Earth. These are aliens on other planets who are extremely aggressive, extremely negative, and just want to fuck you up. And the super soldiers have been able to beat the fuck out of them, take them down, kick their ass, and throw them through a fucking wall, and just kick the hell out of them. And it's because of a lot of technology that's been developed in underground bases, like the base or the city underneath the Iroquois Nation in Ohio. That's where they can develop these things, because the Anunnaki, once they left the planet 400,000 years ago. Not all of them. Some of them are still here. There's a small group that's helping in those underground bases like that to develop these type of technologies and helping us out in different ways like that. They've changed their DNA so they're not 10, 12 feet tall to where they're like 6 foot tall, stuff like that. So they look like us. And they have that ability. They're master geneticists. They're a million years ahead of us in their time frame. But a lot of them are still here helping us in those underground bases, because there are, and the reason why is because there are negative aliens and negative entities who want to just mess shit up and just cause war and cause all sorts of different problems, just take over planets, take over a section of a planet, and then we got to kick the fuck out of them and kick their ass. And the way you do that is meditate, develop your psychic abilities, activate your kundalini in your spine, and then take MMA classes. Take as much MMA classes, get the unlimited type membership where you can train all day long. And then if you come across Mothman, punch him in the fucking dick, kick him in the throat, and draw a penis on his face. You know what I mean? Humiliate him. You know, because they're not fucking special. They're just fucking creatures. They're left over from Atlantis. And you can beat their ass. You know what I mean? And you don't need to be scared of them. Don't be scared of them. I mean, I know one guy, they used to have the theory of the Dulce base in New Mexico where Delta Force supposedly fought reptile people, you know. And I mean, I don't think that's true, but I like the idea of a underground base where you can just go there and just fight and just fuck these people up, fight them, you know, and take them down, kick the hell out of them, you know, because that's where a lot of these negative alien groups live is underground inside the earth, you know. And that's but the majority, like I said, majority of the inside the earth, the civilizations inside the earth are kind and benevolent and positive towards us. But there are other groups who have underground cities and stuff who want to mess with us. And if you come across them, you know, kick the hell out of them, because you can. They feed on your fear. If you're scared of them, then you're going to lose the fight. But if you do meditate and you train, lift weights, do MMA, and if you come across any of these type of creatures, these aliens, you can beat the fucking shit out of them, and you shouldn't be scared of them. They're just beings like us. You know what I mean? Don't be scared of them. They ain't shit. You know, you can kick their ass. You know, if you kick their ass, you'll put them on the path to enlightenment. And that's what happens. Once you beat their ass, they change. They're like, whoa, I'm gonna start doing yoga. I'm gonna start meditating, you know, and they do. They end up doing that stuff, and they changed from a negative path to the path of enlightenment and transcendence. And it happens. It happens not all the time, but it does happen. And it doesn't matter which creature it is, you know. If you see, this type of bat people that you see in Missouri, if you're hiking and you see a guy with wings, looks like a bat, don't fucking run. Stay there. Let him land, then punch him in the throat. Kick his ass. Throw a rock into his head. You know what I mean? You don't have to be scared of these fuckers. They ain't shit. You can kick the hell out of them. I mean, throw your Batsquatch beer in their face, and then spin kick them in the head as they try to fly up, jump up, and do a spin kick and knock them out of the air. You know what I mean? That's the way you got to do it. That works. You know, kick them out of the fucking air. I was at the gym, and I finished my workout. I showered, all that stuff, and I left my watch. I left my watch in the shower, and so I went back to the shower to get my watch, because it was like on the shower head type thing. And there was these two like 60, 70-year-old guys yelling, and the guy, he punched the guy in these guys, you know how old guys in the gym, they're always naked. They won't put their clothes on no matter what. It's like, dude, put your fucking clothes on. You're the last person that needs to be naked on this planet, you know? And the guy punched the dude. The old guy punched the other old guy, and so that old guy put him in a headlock. And then the other guy, he elbowed him in the head. And they were in front of the shower stall that I had to get my watch. And they were fighting in front of that shower stall. And there's no doors in this gym. And I'm like, oh, so I was like, I tried to like squeeze squeeze around these two guys while they're fighting each other. And at that time it was a fist fight. They were trading blows. One punch to the face, another to the face. So I almost got around him, and then the other guy like tackled the guy. Then the old guy fell on me, and now I'm on the ground underneath this old decrepit guy, just like disgusting fat old guy is on top of me, and the other guy's punching this dude. And then the other guy grabbed him and flipped him over, and then they reversed positions. So now I'm laying on the ground, and I've got this guy's ball sack on my chin. It's sitting there on my chin. I'm just like, what the fuck? When I woke up this morning, I didn't think I'd have some guy's ball sack on my fucking chin. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is fucking insane. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Am I in a different dimension or something? Did I forget? I smoked a joint, but I didn't take any DMT today. I didn't take any fucking mushrooms in my protein shake this morning. You know, I mean, this guy, I got ball sack on my chin, and I'm just trying to get my watch. And I'm like, so I try to move this guy, and the guy weighs like fucking 400 pounds. This like old 60-year-old dudes are fatter than fuck, and they're still punching each other. So I tried to move him, as I tried to lift him off, I got the ball sack landed almost by my mouth. I got even more ball sack on my face. And I'm just like, I don't like tea. I don't drink tea. I don't even like tea bags. I don't want a tea bag today. And I was like, at that point, I'm just like, if this guy rips one, if this guy farts, I'm going to kick both their asses and knock them both the fuck out. So that's the fear of the fart was what pumped the adrenaline, and I just fucking threw this dude off of me, and he fucking hit into the side of the fucking shower stall, and he's like, what the fuck, man? This isn't your fight. I was like, get your fucking nuts out of my face, or I'm gonna fucking kick you in yours and knock you the fuck out, motherfucker. And he's like, oh shit, okay, man, I'm done. And then he starts swinging on the other dude again. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Because it's so slippery in the shower, and they're wet, and you can't get them off. You know what I mean? It's like it's like being in a bowl of Jello. You know, you got two fucking giant Jello motherfuckers on top of you, fighting each other, and then if you get teabagged, I'm just like, this is fucking crazy. So I grabbed my watch and I fucking jumped. I had to jump over these two fuckers on a wet floor. I mean, that was the scariest part. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't the scariest part. But I mean, I had to jump over these two guys, and they're still fighting. They're still fucking punching each other. And I told them as I left, I was like, if you guys don't stop punching each other, you're gonna break something, because you're fucking 2,200 years old. And they're like, oh, that's true. The other guy's like, I do have osteoporosis. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be fucking throwing punches on concrete. You know what I mean? On the gym floor, you shouldn't be punching each other. You're gonna fucking break something. You're brittle as fuck already, you know? But luckily I did escape the fart. That was the scariest part of my day. I was like, because man, if that dude ripped one, I'm gonna fucking go ape. I'm gonna go ape on these two fuckers, and it's lights out. You know what I mean? Oh man, that was, you don't know that is real fear. I mean, that is real fear. Is a fart near your face. You don't know fear till you have a fart near your face, man. That is some scary shit. I mean, but I did eventually. I got out of there. I jumped over those two idiots and got out of the gym without any further insanity, you know. But the thing that surprised me was it was two old fat guys, naked, of course. Old guys are always naked in the gym, no matter what you do. It was two old guys instead of two steroid guys. I would expect two roided out, crazy, not crazy, but two roided out guys wanting to fight. I've seen that a million times. Two steroid guys, they just fucking start swinging. They'll swing on each other for no reason. Not no reason, but steroids, they make you want to fight, and I've seen a million steroid fights, and they're great, and they're kind of funny because the anger in it is so intense that they lose, there's no critical thinking during the fight. They just go with the adrenaline, and they just start swinging as hard as they can and doing all sorts of crazy shit. It's kind of funny to watch, but I mean, if you're 200 years old, you would think that you have some wisdom. Where's the wisdom? Where's the self-mastery? And that's one thing that you don't see you just don't see too much in Western countries, is the wisdom of old people. In the Eastern countries, old people are venerated and respected for their wisdom, and they're valued in society. And in Western countries, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, oh, you're old, throw them out, throw them in the old folks' home and get rid of them. No matter, but that's one thing that people need to develop, is that self-mastery and wisdom and trying to improve mental functions, trying to develop yourself into a bodhisattva type of person. But if you're on the path to enlightenment, being a Buddha or trying to become a Buddha doesn't mean you have to be a bitch. Doesn't mean you have to take anyone's shit. Just because you're on the path of enlightenment, you're practicing Buddhist meditation or any kind of meditation or whatever it is, doesn't mean you have to be passive. Doesn't mean you have to be a pacifist. You can kick the fuck out of people. Doesn't matter that you're on a path of enlightenment. A lot of masters, spiritual masters in the ancient past, they practiced martial arts. They practiced sword fighting. Not sword fighting, but they practiced weapons. A lot of them became weapons masters, and they practiced martial arts. And that's one concept that the New Age doesn't want you to develop. They want you to be a passive little bitch. And you don't have to do that. Spirituality doesn't mean you have to fucking lay down and you put your head in the fucking sand. No spiritual masters in the past were like that. And the stories they tell you about turning the other cheek is bullshit. That's complete bullshit. The spiritual masters in the past were warriors. They weren't these fucking not hippies, but they weren't little bitches who would run away. Just keep in mind what Krishna told Arjuna. He told him to fight. Krishna told Arjuna to fight, to keep fucking fighting. And that's what you need to do. You need to fight through a healthy diet, through exercise, through meditation, through through self-care, different things like that. And also physically. If somebody fucks with you, kick the shit out of them. If you can, and not get arrested. But don't think that because you're on the path to enlightenment that you have to turn the other cheek. That's a lie, and you need to fucking fight. Like Krishna told Arjuna, fight. You need to kick the fuck out of these people. No matter, because that's the only way it's going to change. It's not going to change through putting your head in the fucking sand and turning the other cheek. You need to fight. And if you come across negative aliens, negative creatures, fight them. Kick them in the fucking throat. Don't take any shit. Develop your psychic abilities. Develop your MMA skills and choke them out. Because their bodies are just like yours. You can knock them out. You can choke them out. You can punch them in the fucking armpit where their arteries are. Kick the hell out of them. Being on the path to enlightenment doesn't mean you have to be passive. I just want to let you guys know this stuff, and I hope you like this podcast. And if you do, find me on Patreon, find me on YouTube, and I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks. Bye.